Hi there and welcome to the Stitch Sessions. It's Karen here to take you on another tutorial on how to get you started on your crochet journey. If you've clicked on this video, I'm assuming that you are a very beginner or you're a curious crafter that's looking to become a much more confident crocheter. So you've come to the right place. Now in today's video, we're going to talk about how to create a cinch circle. I've had this question a lot. And a cinch circle is how we generally begin projects that are done in the round. So there's a coaster here, and so it's done in a circular fashion. Now, you can create things like squares and other shapes, but it just means that we're starting from the center of something and working our way out. So if you have a flat project, you generally work back and forth, and you usually have a corner of some kind. So generally the first thing that crocheters learn to make is a dishcloth or a scarf. It's very angular in nature. It's either a rectangle or a square, nice and easy. Now I know some of you have been curious about doing granny squares, things like that. So those types of projects start from the center. And there's a variety of different ways you can start from the center, but my favorite is the magic ring because I find it cinches the center in nice and closed. Now this one looks like it's loosened up a little bit over time, but it's just, for me, I like the look of it, and I know a lot of you do too. So in today's tutorial of introductory crochet basic skills, I'm just going to show you how to create that cinch circle. So let's get started. Anytime you're going to crochet a project, you're going to need four things: your yarn, your hook, of course, a pair of scissors, and a yarn needle to weave in any ends at the end. And I always like to remind newer crocheters that a yarn needle is much different than a thread needle. It's a bit thicker and the eye is a little bit larger. So make sure that you have the right tools to work with. So let's get started. Okay, now I forgot to mention that for these introductory crochet tutorials, I like to use a medium 4-weight yarn. It's neither too thick nor too thin. It's really great for beginners. So if you're new, I would highly recommend you always find a medium 4-weight yarn. It will say that right on the label. And the hook I like to use is a 6mm hook, which also has the label of a J or a size 10. And I always recommend this for brand new beginners. I find it's just nice and easy to hold. And like the yarn, it's not too thick and not too thin. I also have a video all about, holding your hook. If you're still kind of trying to figure out what's comfortable for you, I would recommend that you watch that video. I'll leave a card for it up there as well. And basically comes down to what's comfortable for you. Some people hold it in the pencil position. Some people hold it in the knife position. I can do both. I tend to do more in the knife position. So that's how I'm going to hold my hook today. Okay, so we're talking about the cinch circle. Some people also call it the magic ring. And as the name suggests, it's just basically a circle. So if you watched our slip knot tutorial, it starts very similarly. You're going to have your yarn with the short tail facing you, and I just like to wrap it around my index finger and my middle finger. So I just wrap it around and I make sure the long side crosses in front, just like that. And then I place my thumb here just to secure it, and I'll just slip it off. And that essentially is the ring we're talking about. Now it's very similar to the slip knot with one main difference. You will pick up your hook and you're going to insert your hook through that ring and you're going to pull up a loop. Now what is different here is you are not going to let go here just yet. So see how this loop is kind of wonky there? This is the part that can frustrate newer crocheters or really kind of make this much more challenging because you just don't know where to kind of hold and what to do. So you can see here I have this big loosey-goosey loop here. So just using my thumb and my middle finger here, I'm just going to kind of pull it a little bit so that it's not so big. And then with this finger, I'm just going to trap it in there so that I have some tone here. So now you can see that this loop, we have a little bit more control over it. I still have not let go of the crossed section of that circle. So here's the circle and here's our loop. We're not done yet because if we let go of all of this, it's just going to fall apart. See, like it's just going to fall apart. So you begin very similar to a slip knot. Short tail in front of you, wrap the 2 fingers with the long side crossing over, and then I use my thumb to secure. I then take my fingers out so that the circle is open. I will take my hook, insert it into the circle so that I can pick up a loop. Once the loop is through the circle, I'll then take my pinky or all of my fingers here and I just kind of trap the long part in my fingers there. And that's going to give me a little bit of tension here with the hook. So here is the ring and here's the loop. Now in order to secure the ring, I'm going to yarn over, which means I'm going to dip my hook underneath so I can hook the yarn, and then I'm going to pull it through this loop. Now this is where it can get tricky because see, we're still holding down here and sometimes that loop can close accidentally. And you saw that I was quite tight moving through there. But I managed to make it through. So that's a chain, as you would have learned in how to do a chain stitch. Now I can let go, and that is my magic ring formed. And I always like to just take this short tail and bring it out on the outside. So essentially, this is what your magic ring will look like. And it's this ring that you will then work stitches into to create a circular effect. So just like this one. So the ring was in the middle and we did double crochet stitches and we went all the way around until it fills our circle. Okay, so that's it. That is how to create a magic ring. Now, I think what I should do is, let's do it one more time. Because again, all of this, until we do that chain 1, everything is kind of wonky, yeah? And what I would recommend is rewind and watch this video again, do it slowly. And also, did you know that you can press play in slow mode on YouTube videos? Yep. Just click that little settings gear on the, I think it's on the bottom right of the video screen. And you can play it at a slower speed, and that will help you kind of watch me do it in slow motion and do it along. So some people found that very helpful. Okay, let's do this one more time. Okay, so we have the short tail that's facing us. We then wrap the long portion around those 2 fingers, making sure that the long one is crossing in front. Yeah, and then I just secure it with my thumb here and take my fingers out. So that is the initial loop. Then I will take my hook, insert it into the loop so that I can hook this long piece of yarn here and pull it through. And that's that first loop here. Once I've pulled it through, see how it's wonky? You want to use your, pinky or your ring finger to just kind of pull it in a little bit. This is the part that some people will struggle with in the beginning because it does feel weird because you don't want to let this go, but everything feels weird. And don't be afraid to kind of use this hand to help you kind of straighten out your ring there if you find it's helpful. Now, here's the thing that happens. You want to make this snug, but you don't want this to be too tight, right? So when we bring this hook under and we pull it through, see what I'm doing with my middle finger here? I'm kind of holding this down a little bit. So that way, see how that loop is not very tight? That way I can hook this and bring it through. That's my chain 1. Now I can let go of that. And I like to just bring that out. And your cinch circle or your magic ring has been formed. Now what's magical about it is that, see how we have this tail here? When we place stitches into the ring, like for example, if I did a single crochet, I go into the ring. See how when I go into the ring, I'm working over both of the ring and the short tail. This is the thing that sometimes doesn't get discussed when just forming the ring. So I'm going to do a few of these just so you guys can see the example here. So I'm going to do another one. I'm always working over both of those strands. And eventually I would go all the way around and fill the ring. Now, why it's important to work over this short tail is because when you fill the ring, you're going to pull that short tail and cinch your center shut. And that's why we call it a cinch circle. Now, I didn't do the full ring, but you can see that it squished this down. And that's what helps to create a rounded shape to our work. So just a little something to be aware of. You want to always work over that ring. So I'm just going to quickly do this again just to show you if you didn't. Okay, so we've got the chain one. I can let go. So let's say I pull this out and you think, oh, that's a tail. I'm just going to push that to the back. So if I work this without that little tail inside the ring, just going to do a few single crochets here so you can see. And if you are still new to single crochets, I do have a video on how to do your single crochets as well. So I'll leave a link for that down below. Okay, so I've done a few of them here. Great, so I've got a circle, but this is wonky, so I got to close it, right? Technically, you could pull this in, but see, all it does, it doesn't cinch the circle, it just pulls the two ends together. So you see, you would still have an opening there. So that's why, so see, even though it's closed, it's not cinching the center shut. So this is why when you do your magic ring, you want to work over that short tail. So I went a little bit extra on this tutorial. I just wanted to make sure to troubleshoot any possible scenarios. So the trickiest thing about the cinch circle is how it doesn't have a lot of structure in that initial phase, and how to get comfortable with securing all the different parts. I think that's the most challenging for people. So now some people will do something like a chain 4 and then close it up as a ring for projects, and that works great and can look just as pretty. I definitely like to use the cinch circle because I like a much more closed in center, which I know I mentioned earlier. And so you may too. And in the end, I think that when you challenge yourself to work on the things that are a little bit more challenging, you will get better at it, you will improve, and you'll have a new skill. So I hope you found that very helpful. And if you have any questions, please do feel free to leave them for me in the comment box down below. If you have not seen any of my other crochet basics, I will leave a link to that playlist also down below. I think very, very important. If you master those basics, you will be set free to crochet your little heart out. Now, don't forget, come say hi to me. I'm on Facebook and Instagram at The Stitch Sessions. And if you prefer to email me directly, you can always email me questions at info@crochetcrafty.com. And I invite you to come and check out the website, crochetcrafty.com. A lot of free goodies there for you, and some great resources for your crocheting journey. Now, if you're new and you've enjoyed this tutorial, I invite you to come hang out with me every Wednesday morning. I upload a brand new tutorial, so feel free to click that subscribe button and make sure you click that notification bell so you'll be notified every time one of my videos goes live. In the meantime, guys, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. Take good care of yourselves. I wish you happy crochet crafting, and I'll see you guys in the next session. Bye-bye.